in the car. One time give it all. Bust it open, huh? Let me see you drop. Get down in the car. One time give it all. Bust it open, huh? Let me see you drop. I fucked up this Russell, baby, we hustle. What the oh my. I fucked up this Russell, baby, we hustle. What the oh my. What is my guys? Know that they fly, know that they ride or die.
Hello and welcome to the 2026 WL versus PUL All-Star Game. We are here in beautiful Madison, Wisconsin at Breese-Stevens Field, and so excited for this showcase and showdown between the two leagues. I am Kelsey Percy here with Manisha Duriani. Manisha, thoughts coming into this game?
This is the WL's revenge tour, if you ask me. Again, this is the second matchup of these two leagues. Last year, PUL besting the WL 15-9. We had a chance to talk with both coaches about their experiences. Again, the PUL coming back with Genghis Phillips as one of the coaches from last year, and Jonathan Helton from one of the coaches for the WL last year. Got a chance to talk to both of them of the experience of being at this event last year and now getting a chance to be back here. And both coaches came with very different responses, Kelsey. When you talked to Genghis Phillips, he was very reflective. He was grateful for the opportunity, thought it was going to be once in a lifetime, but guess what, folks, we're back. Then you talked to Jonathan Helton asking about his experience, a man who does not like to lose. We asked him about his feelings about this, and his response is, I don't respond to that stuff.
Very different takes, and coming out of that last, WL really favored to win that matchup. Some of the players that we'll be watching to drive the action in today's game, Kennedy McCarthy going to be one of those.
Yes, Kennedy McCarthy playing with the Colorado Alpenglow was an absolute force in the end zone with this league. Continued to make her presence known offensively as well as defensively.
McCarthy traditionally East Coast, but lots of talent transitioning over. Now, Chen, another of these players to watch for the WL.
Yeah, Chen, someone who was an all-around player, just constantly around the disc for the WL, helping that LA roster, albeit with a losing record overall. Very, very close matchups in every game that they played as a strong result of Chip's performance in any and every one of those games.
Now on the PUL side, Lindsay McKenna, longtime leader in the PUL, and still just putting up the numbers.
I mean, reigning MVP. What more do you have to say? Lindsay McKenna's resume continues to impress year over year, and it's also an opportunity to just showcase and highlight the depth of this PUL roster. I know we keep talking about the comparative rosters, but Philadelphia Surge really benefited from McKenna's presence this year.
Sarah Monshine, a little bit of more local talent, also an absolute player to watch.
Yes, player from Minnesota Strike, but was also Defensive Player of the Year for the PUL this year. Led the league in blocks. That was 17. That was averaging 2.8 per game. Can you imagine what she can do today?
Absolute monster performance. And even when you think about the coach's approach to these, because you only get one practice, you get some emails. When you're looking at, yes, an all-star talented roster, but different players, different experiences, different strategies, how do you approach that?
Well, again, it's not how I approach it. It's actually about how these coaches decided to approach us. When we spoke with the coaching staff of the PUL, they focused on creating these pod mechanics. In fact, they focused their names of those pods based on women mythology. In fact, the pod names are the Furies, the Fates, and the Valkyries.
So this is for PUL specifically?
This is for the PUL specifically, yes. And then when we asked the WL strategically what they were planning to do, they also agreed that they would be going with pods. However, they didn't articulate how specifically those pods would be generated and that they could change throughout the game.
I think the only guidance we were given there was that they would be position-based. So Is the person a handler? Is there a cutter? Making sure that they have those groupings, and so they have the right number of position on the field at all times.
Yes, again, this is the second year of this all-star matchup, but these players by and large are new to this scene. Only 4 players on each side really coming in as returners. Everyone else for the first time as an all-star here at this all-star event, brought to you by a collaboration of the UFA, WUL, and the PUL.
Well, and a lot of these players will have never played in this stadium before. It is a bit of a topsy-turvy environment. Madison, we are standing on a little peninsula. There are big bodies of water on either side. That means that throughout the day, it is easy for wind to become a factor. That will also change as the sun starts to set. So beginning of the game versus the end, there are environmental changes that players will have to account for.
And again, this is where those coaching staffs and those adjustments are going to become so important. Both coaching staffs acknowledge that the wind played a role in the performance last year. The PUL saying, yes, we understood we got lucky with some turnovers and there were some execution errors. The WL realizing that execution is the reason they started 0-6 last year.
Well, and I'm curious, and definitely come back to me on this question, but Manisha, did you see any difference in terms of warm-ups and preparations and that practice prior to this game compared to last year?
Oh, you're really testing my memory here, Kelsey. I would agree that both sides appeared to really focus on swinging the disc, where last year we saw a lot of deep balls. Now, in fairness, it's entertainment. This is exciting. Let's talk about the fact that this is an all-star game, and both rosters acknowledge that they are here to entertain and showcase women's ultimate.
And the personnel. I mean, one shooter's going to shoot and runner's going to run, and we've got some height and some shooters on both of these rosters. What I did see, especially in the WL side, was a very intentional establishment of reset space and how they were going to approach that, and, you know, common vocabulary, if you will.
Well, common vocabulary, but also I think the PUL, especially as we think about the strategics coming into a game, have really keyed in on trying to figure out matchups against some of the personnel for the WL. The WL, on the other hand, was like, hey, we're going to have a good time, we're going to focus, and we're going to play good ultimate. But they didn't offer a lot of specifics on matchups. Now, in fairness, you know that Jonathan Helton likes to keep things close to the vest. So it's going to be really interesting as we see these games play out, understanding that both teams have relatively, let's call it, small rosters. PUL here with 16 players, the WL here with 17 players. Some players were not able to come out due to life circumstances. But as a result, you don't have quite clear lines, and that means your matchups are not going to be as consistent as you may have if you were to carry a larger roster.
Almost impossible to just run 2 lines. You're not going to see an O and D. There's going to be, I think, a lot more of the next person up mentality in terms of everyone can do a little bit of everything. Instead, the dialing, can they get players into more ideal circumstances?
And you can already see the WL signing up to PUL. And what you'll notice is this: we are using the advanced PUL, a rule that you may see already with the UFA. Teams get to throw the PUL from the 20-yard line.
Definitely brings the incitement defensively, adds that wrinkle of strategy. So things kicking off, and looks like Rachel Mass going to be one of the leaders in the backfield for this PUL cast. McKenna, Lindsay McKenna right now with the disc for the PUL. Little bit of chaos, looking to get things organized downfield.
A turnover early there for the PUL.
Good effort there from the PUL. Manisha, any thoughts on what you saw early in terms of what caused that turn?
Well, what we're seeing is sort of what we saw early last year. The wind is going to mess with these throws, and what you think is low is actually going to pop up high. Both teams are going to have to feel this out. What a grab.
Really courageous effort there. Umeno coming up with the disc on that one, and it was Umeno who was overshot initially in the previous drop, so that's a good effort. Again, it's so easy for these teams to just be a little nervy, a little shaky coming into this, and then look to smooth things out. Quincy Booth right now with the disc.
WL doing a good job right now of taking away some of these lanes downfield, forcing isolated looks rather than multiple looks, which is what the PUL took advantage of last year.
Good deep pressure there from the WO, but Lindsay McKenna keeps the disc alive.
Seems like par for course for both players.
We are already seeing some really athletic, excellent saves. PUL in motion now on the doorstep, but really pinned to the side of the field. Mask, though, in motion, gets the disc swinging. And already we're seeing that emphasis. Monshine pushing towards the game, but it's a run through D. And that's Jip Yen already putting their stamp on the game. Toss, but McKenna with the run through. No easy shots here in this All-Star game.
All right, already in this first point, this is now the PUL's third possession of this particular point. WUL had 2 chances there to break, have gone 0 for 2 thus far, but right now generating enough pressure to disrupt this PUL offense.
Is it too early to talk about the value of wearing out an offensive line of sorts with such short rosters?
Again, it's not quite lines, right? We're talking about 16 players. You already have 7. Let's just do the math here. We have 9 players sitting on the sideline. You're going to have a line for your next point. What you really worry about is if the next point is short. Unfortunate drop there.
Yeah, unfortunate. Now Robin Fennig with the disc, hitting that inside shoulder shot. Goss now looking to the end zone, looking now to get off the sideline. You know, anyone who's watched Robin Fennig play before, you know that hammer space is always active, but we are seeing a discussion on the field.
And we're seeing a discussion because one of the things we're going to highlight for you all is that the WUL and the PUL agreed to use a 7-second stall set. Last year we used 10 seconds, this year 7.
Lindsay McKenna, another run through D, and that 7-second stall really changes the tempo and urgency of how quickly you get that reset.
I don't even think it's an urgency. I think it changes your vision. You don't stare downfield as long.
You can't.
You shouldn't.
Hammer to the end zone. That will be completed. Gotta be a relief. Austin Pruka going with the hammer towards the end zone. Getting it done for this PUL All-Star squad.
It doesn't have to be clean, but it can be pretty. Again, looking at the replay there, that was Fennig's hammer to the far side, and now we see the return hammer to an open wing in the end zone.
So much excellent pressure on that point. I really think it sets the standard high in terms of wanting to see defense, because sometimes in these all-star situations it turns into an all-offensive hugfest. That is not what I'm seeing from both of these teams.
They're just warming up, Kelsey.
Just warming up, both in terms of initial defensive pressure, but the ability to earn the disc back as an offensive unit.
And as we look at the PUL roster, again, you're seeing a healthy mix of so many of these PUL teams, representatives coming from the Minnesota Strike, Philadelphia Surge, Atlanta Soul, and the like. And more importantly, you just see the last 2 of our score goalers, which was Austin Pruka and Jackie Wang.
Deep pull into WL territory. Defense putting on the pressure way back in the end zone. Abby Thorpe with that give and go action in the end zone, really looking to release and stretch the field, but not taking any risky shots yet.
The disc was in Kayla's hand, you never know. Helton's, my apologies.
Kayla Helton stepping into that center handler, but definitely someone who likes to run deep also. Shot downfield. Defense was there, but lost sight of the disc.
It's so important with these deep looks, especially with the 7-second stall, that reset comes quickly.
Kennedy McCarthy there for that quick reset. Ava Bell right now with the disc. So far, not looking smooth, but definitely being cautious and very intentional with their shots. WL, Bell looks crossfield, lefty blade to the corner. All there for Captain Caitlin Raleigh.
And a healthy response there from the WL. Again, I highlighted this last year. I don't like to belabor the point, but it's still helpful to highlight. The PUL went to a 6-0 start before the WL scored its first point last year. So the fact that we are seeing, 1, a score early, but more importantly 2, and this beautiful hawk by Helton, you knew she was looking for it, but more importantly, a clean hold. Again, if you start to think about some of the players and the health and their ability to recover, Now the question really, Kelsey, is for the PUL, you're bringing on a lot of those players. Now again, they have the 3 lines, so they're going into their 3rd rotation at this point, but each rotation has either 5 to 6 players, and as we talk to the coaching staff for the PUL, they'll bring in 1 to 2 players from other pods.
And we are seeing some new personnel on the field that we hadn't seen yet to date. Eileen Biquette, high scorer of previous game. Emily Cohen going to be a factor, big shot taker for this PUL side.
This line's got some height.
Has some height, has some firepower. Cohen led the league, tied 2nd in the league for offensive points played. So in terms of offensive usage, very high up there. Very stabilizing player, but paired also with the aggressiveness of Quincy Booth.
And I know this is early, but let's just highlight the fact that the PUL pull put the WL into the back of the end zone. And in this instance, the PUL gets the disc at the front of the end zone and is 3 passes to half field.
PUL looking to get the disc off the sideline. Pressure there from Bell. Shot, end zone, Eileen Biquette loses it in the sun, goes down.
Just
Narrow
making
margins.
sure.
Yep, it gets up safely.
Yes. Again, this is an all-star event, and yes, these athletes are so excited to showcase themselves, but the last thing anyone ever wants is an injury.
So now WL with a chance to break. That shot going out to space. It's got nice touch all day long for Bell. Centering to Helton. Helton looking to end zone, really looking to use legs to get some momentum going, working with Goss in the backfield. Bit of a collision there with Booth.
And when we talked to the WL coaching staff, they had indicated that they were going to try and be really creative with space in the end zone. And we can start to see that we're seeing a little bit of spacing in the backfield, trying to create some space right in the front of the end zone. But at this point, they are trapped, and the PUL is going to have to get a D.
I am really surprised, and I'm curious your input on the lack of effort to swing the disc off the field, instead continuing to hammer that corner.
Well, part of that has to do with good marking, and that's the thing. There are good marking mechanics there by the PUL, which prevents the disc from being able to get off that sideline, forcing that small space. Now, you can see those spaces they're looking for, but in that one, that space was just too far.
You did see some initiating movement from the PUL there, getting things moving, but now WL with a short field. Yang stepping out, shot, big pressure, just inches from being in. Goss now with the disc, looks for the reset into the backfield. Weaver dives to save, pops back up again. Now give, go, looking for that easy shot, and Bell, 2nd point in on the score. Has to be good to be the WL and feel that momentum.
Hey, that is a break that right there for the WL. That was an opportunity for them. 2nd point that they had this chance to get the break. They finally get it done in this point. To your point now, Eva Bell, 1 assist, 1 goal already. And as we key in on Eva Bell, player out of Utah Wild, she was the breakout player of the year finalist for the WL, led her team in assists, and was 2nd in the league overall for total yards.
Bell definitely one of the young standouts. Again, you love to see these breakout players performing at the level with these veteran players. It's a really good mix that we have in this year's game.
And Kelsey, you and I had the benefit of being here last year. You could say the same thing for the PUL last year. We saw so many breakout plays and breakout players. Now, for those of us who are in the know, wasn't a surprise. But for those of us at home, you may have learned a name or two.
Well, you can say in the know, and yet I don't think any of us expected Eileen Biquette to be +9 on the game. I mean,
Except
there's breakout
maybe
and then
Biquette.
there's smash.
And now you can see that pull in the back of the end zone, really forcing the deep look, but you have Fenning out there, maybe going to be outrun.
Eileen Biquette had already started turning underwards. Fenig had that space blocked off, and Biquette still almost made up the difference. But now, quick shot upfield, goes to the turf. That one intended for Bollier, and instead shot now inches from the goal line. PUL in striking distance and already looking to get across field.
And a familiar face in both of these leagues now. Ellie Mellick trying to help with this end zone set. A player that was with the WL last year, joined the PUL this year.
Austin Pruka into Ellie Mellick, and then over to the far side. PUL looking smooth in their red zone.
Again, we're seeing turnovers, and yet we're seeing a lot of fast-paced movement once either team is able to get near the end zone. And in this instance, the PUL's ability to get from the right of the field to the left of the field is the reason that they are able to score. This is now a 2-2 game, but again, WL already with a 1-break lead as we start to wane into the end of the first quarter. Again, these are 12-minute quarters. Both leagues utilize those 12-minute quarters. Both leagues now using a end of quarter based on possession, not a buzzer beater. But once the big thing, the big change that the PUL is having to deal with this year, which is different from last year, is that both teams are playing on the 7-second stall.
Rachel Mast there with the goal, adding to her block earlier on in the game. Mast out of Indy Red. Some firepower, but also just all around steady. Someone who a lot of coaches would say does not have a weakness. Pretty high accolade.
And that's actually, I'm not going to say easy to say about all these players, but yes.
Shot deep to Goss, pulled in. WL would love to get one notched in. And with the big step out shot to Weaver, goal for the WL.
Liv Gossip of the Bay Area Falcons led the team in receiving yards and set career highs in goals, assists, throwing yards, as well as receiving yards. Gossip, a returner for the Falcons, but first-time All-Star, as are many of the players this year.
And just for those folks back home, when we say led in receiving yards, we're talking over 1,000, 1,044 to be precise.
Again, if you are a statistician person who watches the UFA, and many of you fans are watching us today, you'll understand what those stats mean.
It's the happy place. And for those like me who are stat junkies, if you want to follow this game from an advanced stats point, head to watchufa.com, go to the website. In the All-Star Game, we are tracking stats there. We've given you a little bit of those numbers later on, but again, it's the fun. I love breaking down the game to that level.
And again, we're going to see the impact potentially of these advanced pulls happening, these great pulls. Let's look at this shot right now of this pull. All teams utilizing this outside-in pull to force the discs out towards the end zone. And now the PUL will have to start walking the disc up to the front of the end zone.
Shout out to Quincy Booth to get things moving. Booth is not only a lefty, but has an absolute cannon. Dish go, laser shot deep. Cohen with yards to spare. So many pulls that have been just short of the end zone. But Cohen has an easy shot there to Charlotte Doran for the score.
Both teams utilizing the deep look well. Finding receivers, hitting them in stride, and what's been really nice is to see both teams create space for one another so that they can find the open outlet in the end zone. Again, 7-second stall, particularly player counted, is quite fast.
Creating space, but also throwing from power position. None of these have been flat-footed throws. These are instead throws that are in motion. They're getting that drive, clearing the deep space, and throwing to players in isolation with really no chance of help defense.
And this is both one of the blessings and challenges of an all-star game, right? You're not getting necessarily the amount of time that you would to strategize. Who are we going to put in defense? Who are we going to put in the deep space? You are really asking these athletes to play on islands one-on-one. Yes, you can certainly try and create some switches, but for the most part, your assignment is guard your person, not a space.
But you don't want your all-stars just poaching lanes night and day?
Well, we're not the UFA.
So you know you're talking to a former UFA coach. Abby Thorpe back in the end zone picking up the disc. Bell stymied by the defense, but breaks out to space and has Goss. PUL defense just sitting underneath their receivers though, really forced to just chip one piece at a time, but Thorpe gets things moving. Thorpe, Bell seeming to be open at Liberty.
In fairness, that did look quite poaching.
As we talk about it. They know we're coaches, right?
They should.
Sometimes, for those in the audience, it feels like we speak things into reality just by wishing and what we would do in a situation. Lindsay McKenna, another run through D. McKenna has just been all over these spaces and now shot out to space. Will it have enough touch? Way too much sauce for McKenna.
And if you can see the flags in the distance, you're going to see that that is the direction that the wind is actually pushing, which makes, by the way, the earlier hucks that we've seen all the more impressive because they are actually kind of moving in that upwind direction.
Connerly took that shot. I love the look, but again, players are going to need to make those adjustments heading in that direction. Connerly covering Thorpe. Not a matchup anyone would envy. Thorpe using those pivots to move the mark, getting things going. Helton now, touch out to space, snatched down. So I make that McCarthy who was back in the field. Now shot to end zone. This time it's Thorpe dominating in that upstairs space.
A very classic Thorpe grab, if you ask me. You just look down the field, you could just see Eifert catching the disc, towing the line, seeing Thorpe downfield, and Thorpe elevating for the score. (4-3). Again, one break lead here for the WL. PUL have been responding after those first messy points, but both teams have found some, let's call it ease or success actually in scoring.
We are seeing opportunities. Watch this highlight play by Thorpe. Again, the athleticism sealing out the defense, absolute dominance in the air. And right now the difference in this game is one break score.
Again, a very different storyline from when we saw last season or last year. Both teams understanding the stakes, both teams excited to be here. We've talked a little bit about some of the coaching staff, but these players themselves have expressed so much gratitude and excitement to be able to showcase their teams, their community, and their leagues.
Connerly now working with Booth. Booth winds one up, sends it to Cohen. Cohen seals and then accelerates, but the defense reaches around. What an incredible D.
That was Abby Davis there from Utah Wild with the D. Really nice ability to readjust and take the space.
It looked like Cohen had Davis completely sealed off. That's an incredible effort. Kennedy McCarthy now looks to initiate the reset. We do have a timeout on the field.
Yes, so this time the coaches have been given whistles to be able to articulate timeouts. In this case, the WL with a break chance, but Kelsey, let's look at the clock. Let's talk about why this timeout may make a lot of sense for the WL. There is 30 seconds left in this quarter. And again, these quarters will end on possession, not necessarily a buzzer beater. So both teams at this point incentivized to try and talk it out. WL wanting an opportunity to break because they will actually start the second quarter on offense. They started the first quarter on defense. You can see Coach Jonathan Helton right now working with his line. Both teams allowed to sub also during timeouts as well. So you can, if you had a more defensive focused line, switch over to a somewhat offensive focused line, especially if you're looking for a break opportunity to be materialized.
Strategy definitely a piece in play. And are you seeing anything in terms of usage of this amalgamation of rule sets?
I think it's been really fun to be able to start to figure out how rule sets can meld together and how rule sets can be bent as well. We sort of think of rules as sort of absolute truths, but in many ways, rule sets are just mechanisms to figure out how games are watchable. And when we're talking about the semi-pro model, we're really focused on watchability. So we're utilizing most of the PUL rule set. That includes the 12-minute quarters. It's the 7-second stall that's the differential between these two sets, and the pre-check, which the WUL has, but the PUL does not, are two of the big differentials.
I love the speed up pace, both from the stall and from the no pre-check. Davis now getting the disc across field to Steiner. WUL doing a much better job of just getting the disc lateral, opening up those new spaces. Steiner now solo in the backfield. Davis, big bid, double bid. Is it up? Is it in?
It's considered both up and in. Now the clock at this point actually is at 0, but once again, you are going to play this point out unless someone scores, and will they do it?
Double bid effort. Huge, incredible job by Haley Belier to keep that one alive, not once, but twice in that point, and the sideline erupts.
And she plays for the Oregon Soar, one of two players here for Oregon Soar. Again, all 8 teams represented here in the WL. What a wonderful showcase and what a wonderful break for the WL for the end of this first quarter.
We're gonna take a quick break here. We will have more action after this quarter. Thanks for sticking around with us and enjoying this All-Star Game. WL up 5-3 over the PUL.
Ultimate Frisbee Association is proud to partner with Victory. Elevate your game with Victory insoles and recovery footwear at vktry.com. Delta THC Seltzers. No calories, no sugar, no alcohol. Catch life's moments at drinkdelta.com. Two Town Cider House, bringing the best craft cider for everyday celebration. Find yours at twotownciderhouse.com. And Disc-It. Round Net meets Ultimate. Disc-It is the must-have portable game for every UFA fan. Get yours at discitgame.com.
We are back here to begin our second quarter here for the All-Star Game between the WL and the PUL. And let me tell you, one of the things that's really cool about this experience is that we are bringing in fans from 3 different leagues, and on top of that, fans who may not be familiar with any of these leagues. And I have to tell you, these players are so excited to showcase for you, and it is going to be our responsibility for the remainder of this broadcast to make sure we can help you identify these players, because you're going to be fans of them after this game as well. Whether you're playing for the WL, the PUL, or even if the UFA, you want to know these players' names, and we're going to make sure we give them to you, because this is what this is all about, Kelsey. This is a chance to showcase. This is a chance to celebrate.
So Manisha, we are only 1 quarter into the action. What are your initial thoughts or takeaways? Any players that are jumping out to you so far?
I'm going to breathe a little sigh of relief that I think this is a different game than last year. But I will tell you this, one of the things I think has been very fun to watch for both the PUL and the WL is going to be the distribution of talent. Again, you highlighted this last year, Kelsey. The PUL last year was dominated by some incredible individualized performances, whether it was Biquette or whether it was Rachel Mast. And this year, right now, what we're seeing is a really healthy diversity of scoring and of production. coming from both rosters.
Connerly with a monstrous pull that will sail out of bounds, but that was going to put the WL deep in their own end zone. Steiner to pick up. It looks like Fenig and Davis in the backfield. A little bit of a horizontal offensive setup here for the WL. With a set initiation play. Defense. A little bit of body contact there, but fighting through. Steiner looking to get things going, but some suffocating defense. High stall shot goes up in the air. Big crowd. Fenig comes down with it. Fenig space, just towing to keep it in.
And the question will be, is there a stall? You can hear the boos starting to rain down from this crowd.
Beer garden section especially very full and very vocal today.
All right, so that was Steiner with the throw. You can see Fenig here with the grab. Great grab within traffic. The disc now will stay with Fenig because everyone has to reset back to where the call was made.
Monshine positioned perfectly to pressure that catch. Fenig caught it and then immediately transitioned into that end zone look. Fenig though starting with the disc, and it's same set in motion, little shorter of the end zone this time. Step out, swing. Eifert in the backfield, working with Steiner. Give, go, big layout from Thorpe. Thorpe keeps doing Thorpe things.
And that's the second time these two players have connected. Eifert and Thorpe connecting in the first quarter, again connecting here in the second. Eifert and Thorpe certainly talking that play over because I don't think either player expected that throw to go up where it went.
Now that is pure athleticism on the case of Abby Thorpe. And if you're gonna throw a player open, Thorpe is an excellent choice. But
I don't
yeah,
even
I'm
think
sure
you could
they
say
want
throwing her open. I think she catches you open. All right, well, Abby Thorpe, again, just a dominant player, has been in this league and has been breaking records left and right. Another player from the Colorado Alpenglow, 2024 MVP, MVP finalist for the 4th year.
Worth of note that both Eifert and Thorpe played for Northern Arizona University. Giants in the Pines, name of that program. So maybe a little bit of systems or alma mater connection there.
And both of these teams would tell you that they were so excited to play with each other rather than against one another. That's the wonderful thing about an all-star event. It's your chance to be able to become teammates and have a common enemy, which is the PUL.
Manisha not biased in the slightest.
Not at all.
We love to have opinions up here in the booth. There's a shot. Kayla Helton gets up and knocks it down. Helton looking to get the disc moving quickly, working in the backfield with Rawling. That one intended for McCarthy, goes just too far. This time it's Lindsay McKenna who's gonna take a shot. Eileen Biquette versus Helton. Biquette goes up. Biquette has it. PUL score, bringing them back within 1.
And what a quick response we see there from the PUL. That was a break opportunity for the WL, rolling a little too far on the continuation pass. PUL picks the disc up and immediately looks deep. They understand they have these great receivers. And don't get me wrong, Helton is a wonderful defender, but Biquette's speed and size makes Biquette an incredibly hard person to guard.
Well, Amisha, look at the edge that McCarthy put on this. It's up on a platter, not out into space where Helton might be able to leverage speed, but instead throwing to the height of Biquette.
Biquette, representative of Indy Red from the PUL, was second in the league in blocks this season with 16.
A reminder, second in the league, only 1 block shy of the league leader, Monshine, also on this squad. Out of the University of Rochester, so a little bit of Canadian representation here.
And now if you're the PUL, you now need to start dialing up some defensive pressure here. The PUL coaching staff noting last year that they only really generated 3 earned blocks. Everything else was really execution errors.
They might have said gifts, but yes. Connerly with another monstrous pull. having to work their way out of the end zone. We've got a run through block by Mast, but Goss not thinking it was clean.
Again, we're using observers, a combination of observers that work with the PUL and the WUL to be able to generate our support for this game. The call is overturned by Goss.
Goss taps the field live, and so the WL starting with a very short field advantage.
PUL.
Connerly with the disc. Stall count rising. Remember, 7 seconds. Gets it in to Dina Elimelech.
Elimelech now with 1 goal, 1 assist, making her mark on now the PUL side of things. But that is the first break for the PUL. This now brings the scoreline back to 6-5. Remember, the WL had 2 breaks in that first quarter, 1 early on and 1 at the end of that quarter. Now in this instance, we see the replay there, Mast with the D, getting in front of Goss. And as we watch the replay of this score, that's Connerly with the assist to Elimelech.
And remember, it was Connerly's pull that really set that up with its depth and accuracy. First one went out of bounds, but this one now in the own end zone. And the hustle by PUL to get down and set up that defense.
And that's part of the reason that both leagues agreed to experiment with this advanced pull, let's call it, or the pull up, is that this game is an offensive game. Let's add some more defensive pressure.
Not to be from Minnesota or anything, it's my favorite wrinkle. I love adding more defensive strategy and element to this game.
As you can start to see the sidelines, getting to joke with one another again. These players largely are opponents. They do not get many opportunities to be teammates.
Right now, Finley working in the backfield with Fenig. Breaking shot out to space. Good use of the step around, but the pressure from McKenna too strong. Disc goes to the turf, and it's another break opportunity. Grace Connerly picking up the disc. PUL would love to go back to back looking for Mast, but the defense there to swipe it down.
WL now with the second possession here in this point, and you're noticing a lot of the same players from the last point for the PUL. Again, understanding that both sides decided to use pods, we are seeing some additional strategic pressure being placed here.
Shot from Fenig to McCarthy. Misread a little bit as McCarthy was starting to come over. That sails, but it does give the WL field position.
And now both teams discussed, whether or not they had green lights in this game, with the ability to just sort of throw deep with abandon. And both teams recognize that with the talent that they have, you certainly want to be able to look deep, but both teams also understand the need to keep possession.
PUL off and running right now, working in that 5 yards from the sideline, but now in towards the middle of the field. Swing from McKenna, gets the disc over to Hoffman. Hoffman working give-go space. PUL working out of a vertical stack, trying to create some isolation, but really driving things from the handlers. McKenna now on the doorstep. Short shot, and that's Mast with the goal.
Second break in a row there for the PUL. Now both teams evened up on break opportunities.
Love to see the fight. 6-6, just really back and forth. Are there any adjustments at this point, Manisha, as a coach that you would suggest?
I mean, again, we're starting to see some self-inflicted errors here, right? And that's what we saw, and we understood the PUL coaches and the WL coaches acknowledged happened last year. And the PUL is getting the better of those turnovers at this point.
See Coach Maggie Peck, both the Minnesota Strike coach and then stepping in, recently flying back from Worlds in Ireland, thoroughly jet-lagged and yet thoroughly involved.
And that's true of actually so many of these athletes that are here, whether it is the PUL, the WL, or even the UFA. This calendar has been heavily impacted, and these players have put a lot of wear and tear on this body. So it is all the more impressive that they continue to showcase such high-level ultimate.
Thorpe now shot deep. Had Weaver going just a little bit too narrow. Now again, remember the wind coming from left to right. Sorry, right to left on your screen as you currently see it. So that shot from Eileen Paquette is downwind. It's sailing. Will it stay in bounds? Cohen was going. It did land, but just a little bit too far. But it will be all the way to the end zone with Bell picking up for the WL.
And you're starting to see some of this pressure on the resets for both teams.
Now it's Rawling who takes a shot. Weaver still the deep cutter. That's 2 deep cuts now for Weaver. This point, this one brings it in, looking for that reset, stall count rising. Yen there with the reset option, and it's a quick give go. Weaver still pulling on the Jets. Weaver to Yen for the goal. A smooth recovery for a messy point.
Caitlin Weaver making it look easy on that deep cut, just finding it in stride, and then even despite the high stall count, remaining composed. You can see that replay there. That's rolling with the deep look, and again, just plenty of space. Then Weaver immediately looking back, which is honestly what you ask players to do, and then getting the disc immediately back, seeing the little inside space, quick little pass there to Yen.
I love that both Weaver and her defender were shoulder checking. What's the lay of the land? Where are we looking? But the hustle there from WL, getting numbers, creating space, and I think even clearing to that cone to make the inside space available. You can see the excitement. Crowd definitely starting to fill in. We will, of course, have the UFA game here afterwards.
And if you're also looking at the bottom line, both these leagues do ask for support of this community. So if you have the opportunity right now and you have the means and you are enjoying today's coverage, hit that little QR code on the bottom right of your screen. You can donate today to support both of these leagues in their quest to continue to bring you high-level women and non-binary ultimate. Our first out-of-bounds pull to the side. Helton there moving the disc over to the right. Again, we're starting to see that wind, you know, Kelsey, you'd mentioned this, that the wind will change throughout this game as the day progresses.
It will both increase and it will be more gusty. So it will have stronger impacts and then fall down. So it will be less predictable and stronger in general. Gotta love Bree Stevens.
It's quite breezy.
No, this is a fantastic environment. If you ever get the opportunity, it's worth the trip up here to watch Ultimate in this gorgeous venue. Big defensive read and play there.
That was Abby Davis with the read on the little up throw, now looking deep.
And it's Abby Davis who gets sent deep by Kennedy McCarthy just out of the end zone.
A break opportunity here for the WL. And they convert.
Quick strike and score there. That's a huge one. Lily Terpstra there getting it done for the WL with the score.
And a game that started with 2 WL breaks, responding with 2 PUL breaks, now is a break lead because of the WL getting their third.
Apologies, that's Chambliss. Liv Chambliss there with the goal. We do have a couple players with double numbers, so bear with us as we do our best to correctly identify all players on the field.
And part of the reason why is that players were given the option of containing and keeping their original true number. Again, our goal is to make sure that you know these players' names and you know these players' numbers when they go back to their original team, whether it's the Utah Wild, whether it's Chambliss plays for the Sidewinders. You want to know who they are, and so we've kept their numbers for you so that if you want a jersey, you can go get a jersey. If you want to follow them on social media, you'll know where to find them.
Abby Davis with the assist on that point. That's a big one and a big break, putting the PUL out in front. This has been, I feel like, a real back and forth in terms of momentum, but it's all been small swings so far, Manisha.
Now PUL needing to respond, seeing the deep look immediately to who else?
Connerly shot to Biquette. Thorpe was there, but Biquette just out into space. And the quick dish to Cohen for the score.
There seems to be a strategy forming here for the PUL. And I think that strategy is Biquette.
What's your goal as a coach when you have an unguardable player?
Yeah, throw it to him.
Feed the beast.
I mean, this is the thing. Biquette has a wonderful combination of speed and height. And that's what makes players like Biquette so dangerous. It's not enough that you can run yourself open, but it has to be the wherewithal. You are being guarded by Abby Thorpe there, and you have to know how to box out as well. And boxing out isn't necessarily high pointing. It's being able to read where the disc is and putting yourself in a place to be able to safely go in the air and elevate it without giving the defender a chance to even try.
So again, if you're following us on watchufa.com, in the advanced statistics for this game, one of my favorite things to keep track of is that plus minus. Right now, Abby Davis, Lindsay McKenna, Rachel Mast leading that plus minus. But you gotta know the Biquette is on the rise there. Just one turn holding her back. Right now, both teams, WL 89%, PUL 87 in terms of completions, but WL 100%, 7 out of 7 on Hawks, Manisha.
I think they missed one. Turnover there by the WL. Now a break opportunity for the PUL, looking immediately deep. Wow, what elevation. I'm sorry, I thought the stairs are out. Looks like we lose the elevator.
You talk high point, Lindsay McKenna getting it done. Absolutely climbs the ladder for that disc.
PUL responds now with a break of their own, tying this game back up.
And that shot from Terpstra, just eaten up by the disc. And watch Lindsay McKenna get up high and just bring that one in. That shot from Quincy Booth, so casual, lefty high release to set up that play.
Just a shrug there from McKenna. Does this every day.
Lindsay McKenna now with a game-leading +4 for both teams.
And
monster game.
Again, I highlighted just a little bit about McKenna's resume, but let's just acknowledge the presence that she had on the Philadelphia Surge this year. She led the Surge to their first undefeated regular season, and that is no laughing matter. That's a difficult thing to do given that division.
Bell now with the disc for the WL. Working with both Lamont and Rawling over in the corner, but this shot, it's gonna go too far. Can Bell get there?
Yes.
She dug that up. Bell, incredible effort to keep that one alive. That would have been real trouble. Lamont now looks downfield. Instead, will dish to Rawling. PUL sagging into these lanes. Watch Dina Elimelech there, really taking that space away before going back to the mark.
And that was a switch, actually. What you're saying is Elimelech switching on and off of handler movements downfield. And now we see the deep look. Goss unable to come down with it. Another break chance for the PUL.
Those same third throws are so tough. That one just sailing a little bit over. Now PUL with a chance, and they're not rushing it. Looking to take this one slow. Give go out to space for Elimelech. Off the fingertips, though, too far.
And Rawling picks it up and just throws it away immediately. PUL now within with another break opportunity.
Mass there, right place, right time to pick that one.
And now you hear that whistle call. It's the PUL's turn now to call that timeout. You could start to see the gas coming off a little bit. That's Coach Genghis Phillips that you see on the screen there. Now calling a new line, because again, one of the advantages of having a timeout is the ability to call a new line, bring in some fresh legs. And the WL's got to feel a little remiss. I recognize and understand the need to be able to move the disc quickly on a turnover. But if your teammates are not set and don't see that you've picked up that disc, that 7-second stall suddenly becomes your enemy.
Definitely is a challenge. And talk about the strategic elements of being able to put a fresh line out. This is the real point from my perspective that we really saw fatigue on the field.
Well, that said, let's talk about some of these guys that we've already seen, because while we have this opportunity for a timeout, I have to tell you, part of what I love about an all-star game is the highlights. And if you didn't get to see this incredible grab here by Thorpe in the first quarter, you're getting to see it right now. But only second to that, the elevation of Lindsay McKenna in this second quarter here. These two teams are putting on a show, and right now are very strategically trying to plan who is going to be able to take a lead potentially coming into this half.
So now we get to see the setup. PUL, Grace Connerly with the disc. Looks like they're in a slanted stack. And now the WL will get to set defensively. WL setting up a bracket on either side. And then they second guess it. I'll still call that a bracket. We'll sag to one side. Clearing cuts, shot to the inside. That was a narrow gap. Ellie Mellick gets it though. Connerly, an absolute rock in the backfield. Pressure there from McCarthy. But PUL hangs on to it.
Nice switch there at the front of the stack.
Hoffman working with Connerly. Ellie Mellick now with it. Mast cutting from downfield. McKenna wants it. Defense pressure from Davis, though. And instead, it's Hoffman who follows for the score.
And that's the PUL's fourth break. Now this game is largely back on serve. And what I mean by on serve, the WL started this game on defense. And now the scoreline is 9-8. So WL is going to have to now regroup a little bit. They have used that. They had used the timeout to try and bring in some new personnel. PUL still able to score in that scenario. And really putting it on the line there. Is that a little blood?
It is actually glitter.
Okay, can we get different color glitter, please, next time?
I had the same exact thoughts, Manisha. It is glitter. It is, call it swagger for this game. Players choosing to decorate, and you can see it on a couple of others as well. The gold glitter and blacking there on Monshine's face as they look to number off and establish their matchups. I love how tight a game we have here this year. Such a treat just seeing both teams trading punches. Minute and a half now on the clock. And clock management becomes a real priority.
It's not even clock management. It continues to be execution. And we have seen in this second quarter the PUL take advantage of execution errors by the WL.
Rawling there, throws into the lane poach. Quincy Booth now with the disc, marshaling the red zone attack.
A push pass without any push.
Sullivan there. Toss went a little wonky, but cutting to the end zone, looks like they drew it up. Quincy Booth really keeping that one alive. Sullivan with a sigh of relief. Watch this again, lefty. Just toss vertical, but the S cut back across, and the Quincy Booth lefty to space gets it done for the PUL.
Quincy Booth was a name we said quite a bit back in May at College Nationals, helped carry that University of Georgia roster to a very impressive run in that women's division. But now PUL 2-goal lead as a result of now getting a number of breaks in a row. WL needing to regroup at this point. They are now technically down a break against the PUL and are going to need to not only hold this score, but ideally break to get this game back to a tie scoreline before half.
Now with 1 minute on the clock, Grace Connerly with the pull. I would argue best pulls this game so far coming from Connerly. Puts another big one up. This will be back in the end zone. Finley scrambles backward to stop the disc. Centering to Fenig. Fenig uses that dominant step through. McCarthy uses the fake. Swings the defense over. WL getting it off the line, and now this shot will be aired out. Kennedy McCarthy running deep. McCarthy goes up, brings that one down, going toe-to-toe with Mesk. Shifts Mast over, and then into Davis for the score.
Davis having a great game thus far. By my calculation, 1 goal, 2 and 1 assist in addition to multiple blocks we've already seen by Davis, but that was a beautiful throw there. McCarthy boxing out and then being very patient against a very good mark of Mast to find Davis in the end zone.
Davis has been pristine. You are correct. 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 blocks, +4 with no turns. If you look at him, a hockey assist there as well for Davis. Love that we keep that stat because sometimes it gives you more of the shape of the game of who's making the big play or the throw just in.
Well, also who's going to be identified as our MVP. This year is a little different in the sense that we've added an MVP award in addition to the team awards as well. So for those of you at home, those watching, please tell us your thoughts on who the MVP will be, and that name will be announced at the end of this game.
Lots of different places that you can do that. If you follow the PUL or WL on Instagram, chime in there. If you are part of the Ulti-World universe, chime in on the Discord.
And you're hearing now the timeout called here. Both teams recognizing 30 seconds on the clock. Again, if you're talking about that the game ends on possession, the WL's job here is to be able to generate a turnover within 30 seconds. If they are able to do that, then they will have all the time in the world to be able to score and potentially tie this game back up. But the WL now really needing to decide who they're going to put on. You're seeing Coach Ray Yang, I apologize, of Seattle Tempest, along with Coach Jonathan Helton, who we've been highlighting. He is the coach affiliated with the San Diego Super Club. And so as we look at this line right now, we are seeing a lot of defensive presence here. We're also seeing McCarthy back on the line. McCarthy again, able to run down that deep look in the last point. And then we see also Terpstra from the Utah Wild, as well as Helton, who's currently holding the disc, about to pull. Good pull there by Helton. And an errant throw there, and an immediate timeout called. Question will be, do they need to pick up the disc or not? Observers accept the timeout call. The WL has done its job. It has gotten the disc. Now they have 11 seconds and as much time as they need to tie this game up and bring this to a 10-10 scoreline.
Assuming there is no turn before the end of the clock. Now, there is an exception to that. Correct, Manisha? 4th quarter.
No, so what actually happened is that the WL and the PUL have experimented with different rules. The WL had said no buzzer beaters, and the PUL had used a 4th quarter buzzer beater, but this past year they switched to no buzzer beaters.
Okay.
There's a lot of now data about the buzzer beater that a lot of the women's divisions and leagues were looking at in terms of injury prevention.
It's a safety perspective.
It was a safety perspective. And more importantly, there was a lot to be said, particularly the pressure that comes when there is no clock. When everyone is now holding on to every throw because they understand it's either score or it's over. And both teams and both leagues have expressed a lot of excitement around this rule. They understand the strategic advantage of it. And more importantly, I think the fans have enjoyed it as well. Like, imagine you're at home and you know your team is on defense and the clock is ending. And that's it. If you're a defensive player, you're like, if I get this D, it's done. I don't have to play after this. Why not just put it all on the line? Because that's what you're thinking right now if you're the PUL. They're going to go right into half from this.
PUL right now with the 1-goal lead, which I believe would be on serve. Very important, all crucial break chance here for the WUL. Just outside of their red zone.
Some confusion there, but 2 receivers in the area.
Helton McCarthy in the backfield. Weaver now.
A question about whether or not that was a block.
Jamie Estes there thinks she got the block. Weaver does not agree. Let's get another look at this. What's your take on that?
Well, the thing about either self-officiated game, if the observer can't make a call here, it's going to come back. But as we look at this replay, the question is the disc still in Weaver's hand, even though the disc is touched by the PUL? But there is nonetheless a turnover and an opportunity lost for the WUL.
With the stall count rising, shot went out to space. And what an incredible read there. PUL just snatching it up, and that will end the time clock. I believe that was Riso Meno with the D there.
So who will win the championship? Who will win MVP? We have done one half of this All-Star Game here in 2026, but we have a whole half to go. Will the WUL find its vengeance? Will the PUL repeat?
It's been a star-studded affair. More action. PUL leading 10-9 here in the All-Star Game. Welcome back to the WUL versus PUL All-Star Game here in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm Kelsey Percy here with Manisha Doriani, and we have our first interview of the game. PUL All-Star Haley Bollier joining us on the mic.
Hey.
WUL All-Star. Hey, come on, help me out here, Haley.
Good clarification.
There you go. All right, hey, representing Oregon Soar, first-time All-Star. How you been feeling about this week?
I've been really excited, looking forward to this week for a while now. Really stoked to be here.
What does it mean to you being selected by as an All-Star to represent your team?
It really means a lot. It's such a special experience to be here and get to play with such amazing people and play against such amazing people from across the country, so it means a lot.
Well, you've already had a spectacular point, that double layout point. I'm sure you remember it. What's your game style? Is that really what you bring to the table, or do you feel like you're playing out of position here?
I don't know. My game plan was like, I just kind of want to, be a team player, don't kind of stay out of the way, don't look stupid, and then, I don't know, sometimes just the moment hits and you got to take it, so.
Well, it was a spectacular play there. Okay, what do you think the WUL has to do in the second half to win this game?
I think we just have to keep bringing the same energy that we brought in the beginning. We had some momentum going and some exciting plays and really just keep lifting each other up, and I think we got it.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you doing the interview with us. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
A little bit of look at some of the stats, if you've been following with us. We are keeping track of those, so these are live stats. Manisha, anything jumping out to you so far?
Well, you can see for both teams, the O-line conversion has not been ideal. And yet you're looking at a really tight scoreline because the D-lines have been unable to convert on these turnovers. You can see 5 breaks there for the PUL, 3 breaks there for the WL. Again, the WL is on the left, PUL is on the right. You can see the logos in the background between the two. But both teams, by and large, are keeping completions high, but you can see that there's a slight edge here for the WL. And that's why it's so interesting to see that the WL is still only down by 1.
Well, and higher number of total completions as well. So seeing a little bit of maybe difference in the speed with which breaks are being converted for the PUL. So we do have one more player this time from the PUL. Love you, Manisha. We've got Lindsay McKenna joining us from the PUL. Lindsay, appreciate you.
Hi, yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, didn't mean to interrupt there, and I need you to rehydrate because you've been playing like lights out. We got to make sure you keep it up for the second half.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's very
Listen,
hot
you've
out
had
here.
a great first half, and this is an opportunity for you to be able to showcase your community, your team. Give a shout out to anyone at Philadelphia Surge for you.
Oh my gosh, well, I'm just really proud of Surge. We made it to the second ever championship weekend, but the first time in the final. So I'm really proud of how far Women's Ultimate has come in Philadelphia, and Faye Epstein and I are here representing, and it's just a really amazing opportunity to be able to play with all of these phenomenal athletes from PUL.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who were you most excited to play with when you saw the roster get announced?
Oh my gosh, I got to look across it. I've been matching up with Sarah Monshine for forever. It's amazing to play with her. Dina Elamelik, I feel like we pull that tall, lanky matchup all the time against each other. This is just a really amazing experience, and Rachel Mast, oh my God, like calling in from the mixed division is so sick. Arlene Paquette, I can literally list something nice about every single person on this team.
Yeah, Lindsay, the question was one.
One, sorry. Well, I go above and beyond, so there you go.
All right, McKenna, so what do you think the PUL needs to do to maintain this lead and take home another All-Star Championship?
Yeah, I mean, so we are playing stall 7 today, which is something that the WUL is really familiar with, not so much for us. So I think we're playing on heat. A lot of us haven't played on turf in a while, so it's a little bit of like making everything a little bit more expedited, like setting yourself up into positions faster, making your change of direction a little bit quicker so you can be open. I think if we focus on that, maybe get a little bit of energy, a little bit of sugar in our bloodstream, like we should be able to like keep it up and keep grinding.
All right, Lindsay, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Keep fired up on the field.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, so all the action, you can see the stands. Love this environment here at Breese Stevens. We're gonna bring you more action here after the break. And welcome back to the WL versus PUL All-Star action here in Madison, Wisconsin. WL going to be kicking things off. Caitlin Rolling right now with the pull.
Again, this advanced pull where the pull is actually 20 yards up has meant that these teams have been starting both offenses deep in the end zone. PUL again right now with a 1-break lead, opportunity to extend their goal lead to 2 if they're able to hold in this point.
Sarah Monshine right now. Elamelik moves forward, but the shot cross field. Caitlin Rolling running through. Thor picks up the dish, shoots it deep. Rolling one hit, one score. What a tone setter for the second half.
And I want to highlight something about this particular play and how effective this was as a break opportunity. You saw that the disc was clearly on the ground. You identified again, looking at that replay, Rolling, just putting your head down, really famous for this. And Thorpe being able to really size up the throw with no one in the space, allowing Rolling to just come down with the easy grab, and frankly, in a very important break here, tying this game back up at 10.
And remember, that's the end zone that players have been having a lot of trouble throwing to in that downwind kind of swirling. So the excellent touch, huge 10-10 game here just to start off the second half.
Abby Thorpe with 2 goals and an assist already. Caitlin Rolling, 2 goals to her name. And now a 10-10 scoreline as we start this third quarter.
PUL sending out a fresh line, and it's Helton who'll take the pull for the WL. Western League players churning down the field and setting up an immediate poach in that lane, trying to take things away. Booth swings wide, big shot going up, tailing out towards the side. But it's Bollier who makes up the difference and beats Cohen to the disc.
Got to be sure.
Helton, big swing crossfield to open things up. Davis inside, give, go, action, power position shot. Same third, defense is there. And disconnects Bell from the disc.
Great D there by Hoffman.
Hoffman just pounced on that. Biquette high points the disc, looks deep. Instead looks to reset. PUL really spread out right now, looking to get some continuity back. Quincy Booth will air one out. Biquette deep. Defense trying to close up, but it's Biquette all alone through the contact into the end zone.
And that was a switch that resulted in Eifert guarding Biquette, and a really smart awareness there by the PUL to realize that you had an open receiver. Again, looking at this replay over here, you see Hoffman there with the D, disrupting the pass. And then as we look for this replay, Eifert was actually on a different player, realized that the match had actually switched. Biquette, though, so hard to guard.
Biquette's so hard to guard, but the space that Eifert made up to make that one challenging, because you've got to put a body in it. You've got to go make up the difference, even to make it less easy for Biquette. Because staring down the sun, there's a chance that Biquette loses it with that defensive pressure coming on.
I wouldn't actually, I wouldn't bet on that.
Don't bet on it. It's a high money bet, but you've got to try.
No, and again,
doesn't happen if you don't
you're
try.
Starting to see adjustments that both teams are making. Again, the switching that we are now seeing for the WL wasn't as prevalent in the first half, but we're seeing a little bit more of it in the second half. For the PUL, you are seeing the stars really start to rise, the cream of this crop. And again, this is an incredible crop of players, but we're really starting to see just such production coming from players like Biquette, players like Quincy Booth, players like Lindsay McKenna and Rachel Mass. The very common names, of course, are starting to come up to the top of your foresight here. And as we are watching this game, we're going to start to bring you some sideline interviews. Right now we have Ellie Mellick on the sideline. Hi, Dina. How you doing?
Hi, good. How are you?
How you feeling?
Good. Yeah, it's a little hot, but the play's good, so great.
All right, so Dina, you have the unique experience of being on both sides of this roster right now. How's this experience been for you now playing for the enemy?
I think it's very similar. I think it's 2 teams that don't know each other very well, trying to build chemistry and celebrate their wins. And so, yeah, it's been great on both sides.
All right, and now we see is behind you can't see the WL has tied this game up. So let me ask you really quickly before we have to get back on the field, what will the PUL do to win this game?
I think we just got to keep digging and playing gritty defense, and I think that'll pay off as the game goes on.
All right, well, thanks so much for taking the time. Enjoy the game. Good luck.
Thanks.
WL now tying this scoreline with the crossfield look to Abby Thorpe in the end zone. Thorpe catching it, not without having to leave her feet.
And Thorpe just getting things done. And you're seeing the passion, the emphasis. Maggie Peck, coach for this PUL, really looking to rally troops.
And Peck known for making in-game adjustments. In fact, incredible at this skill set. And so you can see Peck really marshaling that team with these adjustments that become so difficult to do with the shortened timelines. Again, 50 seconds for the offense to signal ready, 70 seconds for the defense to pull. Teams are making adjustments in many ways on the fly, offering high-level feedback in very short amount of time.
Pull going up this one from Steiner. Some of the best collections of multiple player gorgeous pulls that I've seen in a long time. Gotta love the All-Star Game for that. Monshine working with Mast. Mast brings that one in, fingertip grab, quick shot deep. Quincy Booth this time. The deep look, now Booth moving across and was looking for Monshine, but it's Davis who runs through and snags that one on the end line. Steiner now in motion, shot deep, it's up high. Whole crowd of PUL defense.
There was a lot of PUL there.
And Mast went from one of the intended targets to the person swatting that disc away. Mast now +6.
Look at Davis's numbers too.
Oh, Davis up there. Chasing her +5. Shot now, Emily Cohen. This one will sail too far.
And that's just a hard read. That disc needed to actually move towards the far sideline instead of tailing back in. Would have been easier to catch. But WL now with a break chance, their second break chance opportunity of this point.
Do you think this is the point where we start to tone back on some of those deep blitz? We are seeing, I would say, an elevation of defense attacking those and more of them missing or not connecting.
Well, both teams started with the premise that they're here as an all-star game and they are here to entertain and showcase.
Here to make plays.
And you know what? Deep throws are plays.
McCarthy, shot to the middle, gets scooped up by Mast. Give-go action there with Austin Pruka, and it's Mast who scores it in. Mast just racking up the plays here in this all-star game.
And just a quick movement.
Mast just absolutely pouncing. WL defense, no chance to recover there. And so one more reset opportunity just lost there. Both these teams, I've been really impressed with their ability to earn the disc back.
Well, both teams have been trying to figure out what's the correct tempo for when you punish a team on a turn, right? Mast in that instance getting the disc immediately, understanding that you're about 10 yards out. Yeah, you want to move with pace and tempo. And the question for both teams is that they seem to do well when they can sort of move the ball quickly as we speak versus having to go from a setup position. And you're seeing that really resonate for the WL's inability right now to capitalize on some of these turnovers. But nonetheless, a very tight and close game here. I also have to ask Biquette how those sunglasses never come off.
You seen the players working around with their sunglasses backwards and upside down?
Yeah.
That's a look.
It's what the kids do.
WL fielding to this. Kayla Helton centering pass right now. Working with Finley in the backfield. Finley will send it. Caitlin Rawling there all alone. Defense swarmed, but Rawling able to bring that disc down. Weaver right now waves the defense off, looks backwards of Thorpe. A lot of quick give-go action here from the PUL side. Thorpe, quick fake over and still hits the high release anyways. Finley with the diving catch. Finley over to Weaver, and just like that, WL getting the job done. 12-12 here in the third quarter.
Good possession there by Finley to be able to catch that disc in a tight space. Thorpe is known for being able to move really defenses with her throws and was really good guiding Finley into this space, but Finley making the spectacular grab. But even better was the safe defensive play there. Okay, 12-12. Let's go.
No, but for the folks back home, talk to me a little bit more about what to you makes up a safe defensive play.
I mean, everyone wants to get the disc. O-line or D-line, you want to get the disc. The question is do you have to go through someone to get the disc? Let's break this down into the most simplest parts, right? We talk about what is a dangerous play, but really what we're talking about is, can you effectuate a catch? Can you effectuate the turnover without hurting the other player, without landing on the other player, without breaking another player?
Or yourself for that matter.
And that's also true. And sometimes because momentum, you're going to find yourself going and colliding in the same direction. And one of these things that these athletes have to then do is figure out how to pull out of the momentum. And that is actually just as hard, if not harder, than making the play itself.
Well, not to bring the controversy onto air, but I've heard increasingly, in my opinion, conversations about Frisbee being a contact sport, but not a collision sport. And saying that the zero no contact doesn't have a place in the heightened levels of elite play that we are seeing today versus in decades past.
I mean, this is the problem with the English language, is the word contact can mean multiple things. But listen, Abby Davis will tell you one thing and one thing only. She is a D machine.
Abby Davis getting that D over Lindsay McKenna, and now the WL on a tear, headed the other direction.
And you see Helton really sort of generaling and then looking for her spot, but there are some deep threats down there. And Abby Davis picking up some trash.
The PUL had Eileen Paquette on the under, Lindsay McKenna on the over. McKenna goes up huge, the disc sails high, and Davis there to scoop it up.
And great movement there, okay, also by Davis to undercut the cut there by McKenna. And now you see the number of tall people. And in so many ways, you have to credit Eifert for that play as well, right? Because the players were rightfully focusing on where Eifert was and where they thought the disc could be. It's hard for someone like McKenna to know that there is someone trailing. But that is actually the second part of defense, is that it's not enough to play the disc, you also have to play the people too. And in that instance, Abby Davis took advantage of that. No one paid attention to where Davis was, and Davis very smartly continued to follow the play.
Credit to McKenna and the height there. I'd actually love to have seen Paquette go up first, drawing the defense in, with McKenna kind of as the defensive sweep when they have both.
It's sometimes hard to do in real time because the disc was also tailing towards McKenna.
True. Well, this is the glory. We get the replay.
We do.
We get the replay. We get to sit in the box.
It doesn't mean we won't opine and tell you what we think.
WL with the lead now. 5 minutes here in the third quarter. Both teams trying to grind out the advantage. And right now, PUL using these small in-between spaces, really chipping away. And now into the second half, Elimelech winds up, delivers the fake towards the deep space. But PUL being very patient on this point. Monshine, Elimelech chipping away downfield. Wang now with the disc. Looks across field before hitting a swing. Umeno. Stall count rising, releases to Wang. Elimelech too cool and casual for the score.
And we saw that high stall count, but Wang so good at being able to take pressure off of an offense by just finding an opening in little spaces. It's what she brought to the DC Shadow, who again, were the PUL winners this year. Speaking of winners, we also know that Seattle Tempest won of the WL, defeating San Diego Super Bloom in their final. Both teams are starting to see a lot more parity in their leagues, which has been both exciting, I think, and a welcome sight for both leagues. But when you see crossover players, again, we're highlighting Ellie Mellick right now as a crossover from the WL to the PUL, but there's also been a number of crossovers from the PUL to the WL as well.
We've seen players going both way. Cite Kennedy McCarthy is one of those. Vermont product, someone who really had been lighting up the scene on the East Coast, now transitioning over and playing with Colorado Alpenglow, and I'm very welcome to that Colorado scene. But I love the development, and let's be real, it is a challenge to balance both the schedules of college and club and the semi-pro, really working to not compete with each other, but that's a load for players that are operating in all three of those divisions. Right now, Robin Finnig with the disc, looking to get WL out of trouble deep in their backfield. Kennedy McCarthy steps out wide to get the disc swinging. Love this crisp cross-field movement for the WL. But Davis, that shot just going a little too fast.
Break opportunity here now for the PUL.
And just like that, quick cross-field movement, PUL punches it in. And they're up 14-13. We are just trading leads here in this All-Star game.
Both teams responding well. They're recognizing the conditions are more conducive to this fast, quicker motion. And you're seeing right now the PUL actually just execute it better than the WL. These unforced errors really was what haunted them the last time these two teams played, but starting to show their come to head a little bit again.
For those counting, right now we're actually seeing a lot of parity in terms of turns. Right now in this game, WL has 21 turns, PUL has 20.
And I think both teams will tell you they try and keep it in their own games, about 20. We still have a quarter and a half to go. But that said, for those of you at home, if you are enjoying this broadcast, whether you're watching it on the WL channel, whether you're watching it on the PUL channel, whether you're watching it on the UFA channel, and you want to support Women's Ultimate, hey, check out that QR code on the bottom right. So easy, 2 clicks. Do a good deed.
Right now, WL needs a response. PUL with those 2 quick scores. Low throw, Weaver digs it up. Finley fakes the deep throw, has McCarthy under. Mass taking that Thorpe matchup. PUL defense forcing the WL backwards. Finley shot out to space. McKenna was just poaching out in that lane, and the shot to Weaver goes too far. Lindsay McKenna picking up the disc for the PUL. Both these defenses really just taking away some of the easy under spaces and making the offense having to be more patient. Booth Mast now working, had Paquette deep, but lots of players in between and no real momentum. Shot to Mast, defense is there. That's a lot of contact.
So that was Mast colliding there with McCarthy. Throw was slightly overthrown and both players went up, collided in the air.
And that's a tough one to avoid because Mast is clearing out of that space. It's a blind throw for her, looking back at the disc. Does look like there is a foul call in play. Yeah, we're going to take a quick break, and we will have more information for you when we come back.
The Ultimate Frisbee Association is proud to partner with Victory. Elevate your game with Victory insoles and recovery footwear at VKTRY.com. Delta THC seltzers. No calories, no sugar, no alcohol. Catch life's moments at drinkdelta.com. Two Town Cider House, bringing the best craft cider for everyday celebrations. Find yours at twotownciderhouse.com.
Back to action here in the WUL PUL All-Star Game. PUL right now with a break chance to go up 2 if they can punch it in. Lindsay McKenna right now with the disc. PUL looking to keep the disc moving, high pace and tempo. Weaver with that defense, disc goes up. Emily Cohen snags that one down, and it's up 2 for the PUL.
Solid response there from the PUL, moving the disc laterally side to side and then punishing with the crossfield look. McKenna, just great vision to see that the far side of the field was open, and all you really had to do was lead, and it would be really difficult for even a player like Rowling to be able to cover that gap. Well, now a 2-goal lead, and you know what I was thinking about in the last point, Kelsey? Last year's scoreline was 15-9. There's only 24 points played. We're already at 28, and we still got a quarter to go.
I would say production is way up.
It is. I think for both teams, it's way up. And again, we are still seeing some of these unforced errors. Whether you call that a product of like lack of familiarity, I will tell you that these athletes expect better of themselves, and they know, especially as we start to get into this all-important fourth quarter, that these turnovers are going to have to be at a minimum.
Both teams flirting with 90% completion rate, and you know they'd love to be up above that 90%. Right now, WUL executing at a way higher rate in terms of their hucks. I believe there are 2 of them that have been D'd at this point. But speaking of D's, here's another break opportunity. Quincy Booth picking up for the PUL. Can they go up 3?
Ellie Mellick's on the field, so certainly.
Spoken like a true WUL fan. Umeno looking for a reset with the stall car rising, has Wang in the backfield. Quincy Booth, watch out for that high release throw. You can see the mark with that higher stance as well. Shot past the diving defense of Abby Davis, and who else but Dina Elimelech.
Ellie Mellick now with 4 goals to her name in this game. Really starting to pour it on here in this second half as the PUL starts to separate itself from the WUL. Again, just seeing the turnover here, it was a slightly blocked throw. Ellie Mellick finishing the job.
You say slightly, I say Ellie Mellick all over it. That's bookends.
And that was Epstein there with the assist to Ellie Mellick.
So there's been such parity up to this point, Manisha, in this game, but now PUL starting to pull away. We still have a full minute and a half left in this quarter and another quarter to go. If you're WUL coaches, what's your messaging here?
Well, this is the challenge, right? Let's remind folks at home, both teams are playing with small rosters. We have 17 players on the WUL, 16 players on the PUL. So you're really talking to everyone who just came off the line or everyone who's on the line. Those are really your only 2 options, and that's half your team. At this point right now, if you're the WUL, what you're really focusing on, and you look at this line, you're starting to see some familiar names, and both teams said that they would be willing to start to tighten lines if the game called for it. Now you see this really zony look. Helton looking for Thorpe. That looked like that was the pre-planned play. Thorpe cannot come down with it. WUL is going to need to get a stop here.
Connerly in the backfield right now. McKenna has been open all day on the resets. But these marks, look at the flatness of them, Manisha, making vertical progression really difficult. Wang now with the disc. Quick resets for the PUL continue to be the modus operandi. Connerly now, shot over the top, throwing Eileen Biquette open. And she'll bring that one down and celebrate with the head spike.
And that was over Hilton, who made a valiant effort, but Booth just, Biquette, my apologies. Too much in the air right now. Again, you can see the replay over here. A crossfield look there. Finding Biquette in the end zone. PUL starting to pile it on here in the third.
Biquette just absorbing that. You see the instant celebration, and look at the body language here. PUL really starting to just swing away. Right, we do have Caitlin Rowling here joining us for an interview. Caitlin,
hello.
Welcome to the broadcast.
Hi.
How are things going so far? You enjoying yourself?
I'm having so much fun. Everyone's here watching Women's Ultimate. I get to play with and against my friends. Like, this is what it's all about.
I say welcome home to Madison.
I love my Madison city and I love my people. My family's all over the place in these stands.
Well, and you learned to play here in Madison, correct?
Yeah, I started playing MUFA, which is the local rec league, the summer before college. Played with Belladonna at Wisconsin, played with Noise, played with Heist, played pro for the Monarchs. Like, born and raised, ultimate bred here.
Well, and we heard you wanted to give a shout out to someone you feel really brought you into the sport.
Yeah, I'm here, and a lot of Ultimate players in Wisconsin are here because of Frank Kelly. He runs Wisconsin Ultimate. Anywhere he goes, he supports young women athletes, whether that's starting high school teams or fostering, like he supports the Monarchs, he supports Noise, like he's done so much for Wisconsin here, and like I am where I'm at today because he started a high school Frisbee team at my high school. Even though I didn't play, that team that I played with, the league team, was from my high school that he had started.
Well, thanks so much, Caitlin, for joining us. We're going to bring things back to the action, but we appreciate you, and just keep firing. You're having a great game.
Yeah, thank you so much.
As we now come back into the waning seconds of this third quarter, PUL now with what may be a commanding 4-goal lead. WL looking to try and narrow this scoreline before the end of this quarter. And the quarter will end on the possession, not the clock.
30 seconds, clock winding down. And the pressure from Cohen caused a throw to go awry. Can the PUL punch one more in?
At the rate that they're going, they might.
30 seconds, a lot of time when you've got Quincy Booth manning the helm, but these swing throws going across. Eileen Biquette now with the desk. Biquette really someone that you want in the end zone as the clock goes, but possession, the key to this point right now. 9 seconds left. Lindsay McKenna will go back with a travel call. So it looks like the disc will be going back, and I would expect them to put some seconds back on the clock as well.
Think of it as right, it doesn't really quite matter, right? Except
Does
maybe
it?
it does.
Because now we may be going off of time on the field. Okay, so it looks like we will be going into the third break, and what an opportunity lost there of should be setting seconds on a clock, but right now PUL up with a commanding lead. Can the WL bring it back in tightly? Can they charge and fight back? They had the lead here in the second half, but right now PUL up 17-13 here in Madison. Welcome back to the fourth quarter in this thrilling all-star game, WL versus PUL here in beautiful Madison, Wisconsin. This game taking place in Breese-Stevens Field. And what an environment. The crowds are filling in. When plays are being made, it's getting loud here in Madison. And what an opportunity for the nation's best players to have this kind of fan experience.
Well, fan experience not only in the stadium, but of course for you watching at home, all of you watching in from various parts of the country, perhaps internationally as well. Thank you for supporting Women's Ultimate. Thank you for supporting the WL and the PUL. This crowd certainly knowing what's coming towards them next, which will be a championship face-off between the Oakland Spiders and the Minnesota Wind Chill. But right now, things are getting chilly for the WL.
Yeah, things are friendly in the booth right now between Manisha and myself, but we both have ties to opposing teams when it comes to the championship later on. It's going to be a good one.
Absolutely will be a good game, no doubt. This has also been a great game. Let's be very honest here. This has been an opportunity to showcase some incredible talent from both of these leagues. The stars continue to shine, and as we continue to highlight some of the other players that you may not have known about, what we see here is that there is a switching of the sides. The WL will be starting on offense for this fourth quarter.
A switching and some shenanigans between McKenna and Thorpe. That was hilarious. Manisha, if you were to pick one thing that you think is causing the PUL to pull away here in the second half, what would you narrow it down to?
Self-inflicted turnovers by the WL.
No more than that?
I think that was like 7 words. Okay, 6.
Fingers counting up here in the booth.
I mean, in the end, these two teams, these two organizations are excited to continue to bring you high-level women's ultimate. We're excited to tell you about the storylines of these players, to talk to you about the communities that they come from. Whether you're talking about Caitlin Rowling, who grew up playing here in Madison, learned to play here, or you're talking about players who have crossed the country to play the sport that they love and continue to play at a high level in a calendar year that we also have talked about briefly has been incredibly impacted when you think about how much these athletes have had to put forth, whether it's at a club division, a college division, worlds.
I say YCC's worlds. I mean, it is loaded this year.
Yes. But one more quarter. This is 12 minutes left to play. The WL right now in the hole by 4 points. Starting here on offense can narrow this gap.
A little bit of a zone defensive set, too. And when you've got this kind of lead, why not do something that's both going to burn the clock and create defensive opportunities? Mast scoops up another D.
Wang looking for Ellie Melick in the end zone, but not quite there.
Ellie Melick goes up strong left hand. Sends the disc back. Lots of patience here on the front line. Mast now marshalling. Sends it to Pruka. Pruka doesn't like stall count rising. Ellie Melick, but was that a stall?
That was a timeout called. Again, the 7 seconds, as I was thinking about this point, we haven't really seen a lot of stalls happening, despite the fact that the PUL is really playing with this rule set for the first time. But what you do have, which is the coach's advantage, is an understanding when that stall is high, you as the sideline coach can call the timeout, reset the clock, reset your offense, and potentially save possession. In this case, potentially extend your lead.
Well, and talk about that role as a coach in terms of balancing nerves with when to use, because it's a limited resource.
Yes, there's only 2 timeouts per half, so teams have to use this sparingly. And you are going to see that most of the time that the teams that use these timeouts is when there is a break opportunity, when there's either been a long point or you know that you have the player and personnel to be able to complete the break. And when breaks matter in a game like this, those 2 timeouts could be the difference between a win and a loss. Both teams talking amongst themselves. WL understanding that their responsibility now is to try and stop this PUL train. PUL is going to be starting with the disc just 10 yards outside the end zone. They're going to be playing with sort of what we call the classic vert stack. And we saw coming out of a timeout earlier, Kelsey, we saw a little bit of a poach triangle look And we're starting to see some of it as well again here as you start to see 3 people towards the front of the line.
Wang now moving the defense. Mast goes up strong. Fingertip catch there. Thought that one was too high, but Mast brings it down. Rachel Mast has just been an absolute rock for this PUL team this game.
5-point lead now. 10 minutes left in this 4th quarter. WUL has not been able to figure out an answer to be able to just get the disc in the end zone. Again, you're seeing self-inflicted turnover there, and then Wang with the beautiful around and Mast elevating for this score.
And you saw Mast go up right-handed, but switch to left as the disc was thrown behind.
Well, this Indy Red player has been incredibly talented, not only on this stage, but on the others as well. Such a fun player to watch, and also a player to be known really as a finisher. Both of these teams elected captains, actually, before the start of this game. For the WUL, the captains were Kayla Helton and Caitlin Rowling. For the PUL, the captains were Lindsay McKenna and Lindsay McKenna. I apologize, we don't have a second captain.
Gorgeous deep pull again to get this point started. Robin Fennig fakes and fakes again, stymied by the defense. And you could definitely feel a little bit of a drive. WUL working with their legs to get this disc downfield. They've had trouble when pinned to that far sideline because the margins get narrower and narrower. Right now, nice bump out. Liv Chambliss just open for days right now, but pinned. And the Mark's doing an excellent job on the PUL. Helton swings it across. Fennig out to space. Yen to Chambliss. Huge bid, just too far.
Good look there. But there will be an injury switch happening. Again, you can utilize the hand signals to be able to indicate whether there's an injury. That's Cohen of the PUL subbing out. Ellie Mellick subbing in. You can see Abby Davis's face right now. Oh,
what she
no.
thinks. Ellie Mellick, a good pickup if you're switching to defense, though.
And now we're seeing a change happening for the WUL as well. Both teams allowing to sub when a player comes off.
Berlier will go off for the WUL. Quincy Booth picking up. And Sarah Monshine coming back into that resot position. So a little bit of a travel call. Disc resetting and play initiates quickly. I do like how quickly players have been getting the disc back into play. Not a lot of prolonged discussion here at the All-Star Game.
Well, they're here to play.
Working with Booth. Those are 2 long frames to have in that space. Up line, big diving grab there. Epstein, first scored, second score of the game.
Quincy Booth with her 3rd goal assist of the game. And this PUL roster really starting to fire on all cylinders. But we also have an interview with one of our PUL All-Stars. Welcome, Riza.
Hi.
How you doing?
Doing well. Pumped. I'm loving the environment. Loving to play with all these friends.
Well, you are a first-time All-Star here. What does this experience of being selected as an All-Star mean to you?
I'm honored, honestly. I just love that I'm able to represent my team and just be able to ball out with some really ballers and just meet other players that we've played against so often. So, and just being able to kind of do another game as part of the PUL, even though the season has ended.
Risa, what's your favorite memory of the weekend so far?
Honestly, I was saying that I just got goosebumps from where Grace threw just kind of like a high release to Eileen Beckett, and she just, I don't even know how she grabbed it, but she just had like a huge sky. We call her Skyleen for a reason.
All right, well, last question before we let you go. Anyone you want to say hi to at home?
My partner Ricky, his mom, my 2 dogs, my parents in Japan, all my friends who are cheering me on, and just happy to be here.
All right, well, thanks so much for joining us for this interview. Best of luck for the rest of this game.
Thank you.
All right, as we come back into the action here, some question about where the disc will come in on. Off of the pole. WL down currently 6 with about a little less than 9 minutes to go. Kelsey, not quite, I think, how either of us drew this game up.
Especially not with the start. I mean, remember, we were neck and neck. We've been tied multiple times throughout this game, both teams trading leads. And like you said, it's really been the difference of, on first turns, there was just that stretch of score after score after score by the PUL, kind of relentlessly pouring on the pressure once they had that small bit of advantage.
And such a difference from the first half where neither team was really able to capitalize on the turnovers. Here we are seeing the PUL really punishing the WL for its turnovers.
I think added in confidence, but also really honing in on who they were making space for.
We see another turnover there by the WL. Possible for the PUL to get to 20 here.
Eifert there looking for Yen. Yen gave the thumbs up saying, I like the throw, I like the look, but it did go to turf. Opportunities here, Monshine picking up the disc. Monshine to McKenna. McKenna airs it out. Rolling, closes, makes the D. That one, thought for a second there would make a play, but Bell was following the play. That's a huge play by Caitlin Rowling.
Well, WL still needs to find its way into the end zone. They've demonstrated they can play D, but right now have just struggled offensively as we see another errant throw there by the WL, resulting in a turnover.
It's got to be a frustrating one when you're playing hard defense and really getting that effort, and to see it turn again so quickly. Quincy Booth picking up for the PUL, goes to that break side immediately. Monshine moving Lamont, and then PUL carves back up through the middle to the far side. Monshine downfield to McKenna. Soft shot inside lane. Sillivant, narrow windows, and that one goes to the ground. Lamont will pick up for WL. Bell clearing the lane. Good switch there by the PUL to pick up Bell as she was headed deep. Davis, squeaky catch there. Tight window by Steiner. Booth and Steiner, such a fun matchup. 2 lanky frames.
The WL continues to really struggle with this saggy look that the PUL has played. We've described it a little bit as a zone, but really it's sort of a sag into lanes. And while they've been trying to find the little give-goes, they just haven't been able to find the outlet pass.
Bell and Steiner right now. Resets coming a little bit more easily for the WL. They're in the red zone, and this is an area where they've been having some struggles with success. Only 10 of 13 so far, but Caitlin Rawling, determined to push this one in, will come through with the score and the celebration.
Steiner there with the assist. WL trying to tighten the score line. Might be too little too late. However, you never know with these games.
And you can see some of the fatigue in the body language on these players. This is a long game. They are light rosters. You've got 5 minutes left to play. Can you leave it all out on the field?
It's not even that. Remember, let's acknowledge that we're on turf, and this is a warm environment. I'm not a Midwest girl, Kelsey. I am sweating.
It's like 75 degrees. What you talking about?
I'm sweating. It's hot.
Have you been to Colorado lately? It's been
I
100
have.
degrees all summer.
That's hot. That's hot.
Let's just have some perspective here.
This is a beautiful venue. All things considered, both the MUFA hosts, the UFA, this venue, it has been a wonderful weekend. I'm so glad we were back here for the second year. I understood, obviously, everyone was trying to understand why the tournament got moved a day, but this is such a popular venue. There's a concert happening here this weekend.
Alabama Shakes making their way over to Breeze-Stevens on Sunday after actually being at Surly Brewery over in Minneapolis for 2 days before that. But we get the stadium today. It is all ultimate all day today. We had kids clinics going on earlier. Some of our players participating in that. PUL now looking to control the disc. Players going deep, had some fingers on it, but Charlotte Duran cannot bring that one in. I liked that shot.
I did like it as well, but the question is can the PUL now be punished for this turnover? Because they have yet to be punished for these turnovers. And the PUL now, 80 yards to defend. WUL has not really demonstrated a threat going downfield.
Finley under pressure there. Helton comes back. The two of them working give-go, trying to get some momentum out, but the defense just clogging up those lanes, and Rachel Mast make it 5 Ds for the game. Just stepped in and took that one away. The answer is so far, no, they can't. They can't be punished. They are earning it back. Quick give-go. Ellie Mellick there with the assist going to Wang.
And you can see that the WUL really has struggled with getting that disc off the sideline. And again, let's acknowledge that that is really also good marking by the PUL. That's the inability to move the disc off the sideline is exactly what you want to do if you are a defense. And the WUL has not come up with a great answer to be able to respond to this.
All right, so we do have an interview coming to us here shortly. I think this has been one of my favorite parts of this game, Manisha, where we just get a quick check-in with these players. It's a luxury, right? It's not something that's part of normal gameplay, but it's one of the joys of this All-Star game. We get to step in and hear about some of the experience of our players.
Abby Davis now joining us. Abby, how you doing?
Hanging in there.
Hey, Abby, you've been having a game, but right now your team is down 6. How you feeling?
It's a battle out there, but I mean, they brought it to us, and so we just gotta fight for it and win it with our legs.
Listen, you're breathing hard right now. Have you
Sure
been playing an Ultimate game?
Yeah, it's been a hot sec.
Hey, so listen, you are representing Utah Wild, and you were also dealing with an injury this year. What has been the experience of having to recover from an injury?
Not gonna lie, it's been really hard. I think a lot of people who go through injuries understand that, and sometimes it's really isolating, but you just gotta put in the work and take one day at a time.
Well, Abby, you've definitely put in the work. You put in a number of days, and it's been wonderful to see you on the field. And right now, your teammates have just scored behind you. But let me give you a chance to shout out anyone at home that you'd like to say hi to.
Just my family and friends, just the supporters that brought us all here. It means a lot.
Well, Abby, thank you so much for catching up with us. Get some oxygen, will you?
Yeah, we'll try.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Well, while we were enjoying that conversation with Abby Davis, Caitlin Rawling went up for another score for the WUL, but we've still got a gap of 6, Manisha. And
5.
So,
I think our score is going to get caught up in just a second.
there we go, gap of 5.
But
You can see the energy, and again, I think the lost opportunities on the break chances is really the difference maker right now.
It is, but I will say this. I got to highlight something that Abby Davis said, because it's something that we don't get to talk enough about in a broadcast, and frankly, we have the chance to right now. Coming back from injuries. Can you just think about the number of injuries that these players collectively that you see on these all-stars have had to overcome to be here today?
They could probably write a medical book.
I think it'd be an encyclopedia. And this is the thing, and I appreciate and I love that Abby is able to talk about it because it is isolating. It is difficult. There is so much of a mental recovery as much as it is a physical recovery. And I bet you talk to any one of these players and they'll tell you the same thing.
I believe both of us can relate to that personally.
Certainly. It's sort of the lived experience of an athlete, right? You certainly want to be one of the fortunate few that didn't get an injury, but the reality is that everyone has likely recovered from something. And rolling right now, deciding to put this game on her back, again, catching the last goal, now just getting the most recent D. The WL, as close as they've been for a break opportunity on the field in perhaps a whole quarter. Can they do it? And really, again, trapped on this sideline, this very same sideline that they've been stuck on all day. Trying to squeeze it in. And that's a different type of squeeze. But it got some juice.
Lindsay McKenna had her eyes on that line. That was such a narrow lane. And I think had Caitlin Rowling not put the pace on it that she does, that goes in. Lamont Rowling working in that small space. And I do think that's been a problem. Again, we talked about earlier on how well WL was moving the disc across the field. But as the game has progressed, look how close that was.
And Yen so sure-handed in that moment to be able to find Finley in the end zone. There's going to be a question of whether it's too little, too late. You know, we're in the fourth quarter right now as we look at Finley walking away. Finley representing Seattle Tempest.
Well, and this is where pace becomes a real factor. Can they play with tempo? Can they make each point on the field as quickly as possible? Because we'll call it 3 minutes on the clock is not a lot of time in order to turn the number of possessions they would need to bring this game to a tie.
I hear that, but you know who I'm seeing on the PUL line? Biquette. Do you know what I'm calling right now? Deep look to Biquette.
Can we safely say just no matter what, Biquette scores?
No, that's a different bet.
Roller pull going deep out the side. Mast at least, I think, brings it up outside of the end zone, but it's a close one, and Helton's on the mark. Mast up the line. Ellie Mellick, too short, thrown behind.
Now,
this
David,
is a monster. We were just talking about this. This is a huge opportunity.
All right. So now there's a question of whether or not there was a timeout called. It looks like there was a timeout called before that pass went off. So once again, the WL has done its job defensively, but they need to do it offensively now.
So this is the first of their 2 timeouts that they're using for this half.
But do you agree with the timeout call, Kelsey?
I'm really split, and here's why. Because the disc had just gotten in the hands of Robin Finnick, and if there's anyone who could one-shot a score from there, it's Robin. With, you know, accuracy and the full breadth. However, they have 2 timeouts. It still keeps 1 in reserve. And if they're able to punch it in here, it gives them that guarantee of being able to plan it out and execute it quickly. But I think it goes advantage defense.
Again, they're still trapped on that same sideline that we've been talking about. And now, yes, while you're going to reset 7 seconds, you're right in that position that has largely played into the PUL's advantage, which is getting the disc trapped on the sideline, forcing a tight look in the same third, and getting the turnovers. Okay, remains to be seen. But for the WL to start to make this a potential comeback, this score is going to have to happen in the next 30 seconds. Fennig picking up the disc, looking deep immediately. Thorpe is in the end zone. Is it too far? Just too far for Liv Goss.
Liv Goss couldn't make it. Biquette was in the area. Thorpe was chasing there too. Props to all the players for making that safe, because that could have very much been a collision. But again, we talked opportunities. That was a necessary opportunity. Fennick, though.
And now a foul call. Interesting. You're seeing on both sides immediate responses. Ellie Mellick immediately signaling foul. Fennick immediately signaling uncatchable. Again, you're seeing the hand signals, the hand going over the head, indicating whether or not it's a foul if the disc is not catchable.
Fennick didn't wait a second.
Oh, no,
Like,
both
nope.
players knew exactly what they were doing. So again, you can see the contact.
I think I disagree with Fennick. I think the contact did affect the play.
So again, going to our observers, again, our observers in this case are going to be making active calls for up, down, and in, out, but they have also been asked to make a call. Ellie Mellick not liking that call. Ellie Mellick does not have a poker face, if you ask me.
Where's the fun in that?
All right,
Helton now picks up disc, going end zone. Fennick in the area, big crowd, but it's Ellie Mellick who brings it down.
And again, WL needing to have out that quick score. At this point, the time is the advantage of the PUL as they continue. Ellie Mellick and Fennick are just trading Ds right now.
And as exciting as this is, the seconds are ticking away. We are down almost a minute and a half on this point. Thorpe, hammer, goes corner mass. Can they get there?
No, but
Eifert, incredible effort, and the kick spike. That was huge for the WL.
I mean, the crowd was calling for a hammer.
I think the hammer was the perfect throw.
Maybe could have used it a minute ago, but 3-point game. And PUL a little bit slightly on their back shoulder. Again, Abby Thorpe, such a versatile thrower in Thorpe, and the ability to switch grips and then move to the hammer across the field, finding Eifert.
I love the acrylity of that throw. Didn't throw it soft, had some real snap and edge on it.
Did you say acrylity? Oh, wow. Someone give me a thesaurus.
I read. I read garden books more often than anything else, but I read.
And again, for those of you at home, if you wanted to support either of these leagues, both of these leagues, check out that QR code on the bottom right of your screen. Hit that little button, give us some cash. Count yourself good to eat of the day. Thank you so much for supporting. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us. Again, it's been fun to see the Discord so active. It's been great to have Ultiworld here as well, giving us the play-by-play, writing up the storyline as we speak.
Well, and last chance, you want to get your votes in. A lot of fantastic standout players in this game. Who do you think should be the MVP? We're going to make that decision soon. Speaking of MVP candidates, Eileen Biquette under pressure from Helton and Rawling.
Who is this
Throws a
WL team, and
backfield
why
turn.
are they with the disc right now?
Thorpe now. Being very careful with choices, goes to Rawling under pressure. Rawling, Biquette, the matchup. Cohen touches it, but it's in.
That's
Mollier brings that disc in, and it is utter pandemonium because we still have time on the clock past the outstretched hands of Eileen Biquette. The touch on that because Cohen did get a hand on it. Holy buckets.
And you can see the emotional storyline here, the frustration from being able to miss the D, the elation for being able to catch it. Again, we have a minute left on this clock. I will tell you, I'm not convinced it's enough time left on the clock, but the real question is can the PUL keep their cool to maintain possession? Because in both of these instances, they have been early turnovers.
Well, we haven't talked about it a lot, but with an all-star game, with the leagues on the line, with last year being such a round, there is pride on the line. And quite frankly, bringing it back to within one is way different than being back 6, but 50 seconds on the clock. If you can get the disc one more time, you're close. You start to believe. Down 6, there's no way. Within 2, within 1, anything could happen.
Again, we're seeing these roller polls, which allows the clock to stop. Smart move there by the WL there to now make the clock your little bit of your friend. But disc off the sideline now to the middle of the field. There's seconds ticking down for the WL. And a turnover. And will the WUL call a timeout to save some clock? No, they're going to pick the disc up. They're going to start moving the disc. There's 30 seconds left on this clock. They need to look deep. There's a one-on-one matchup. Will Goss get there?
And just too far. And that's the question. I'll turn them back around. Would you have called a timeout?
I would have called a timeout.
So fast, no question.
I would have called a timeout. Well, I don't cry over spilt milk.
Now, from a strategic standpoint, Grace Connerly, who has massive throws picking up the disc, if the stall count is rising, now Lindsay McKenna, do you just shoot it deep? You've got 14 seconds left.
Did she hear you? Did you manifest that?
There goes up, rolling with the disc.
10 seconds.
Weaver, but they're not across the half field. They need it to be viable. One shot going up. Fenig out to space.
Unable to come down with it, and it looks like the clock has ended. The PUL's victors again. Genghis Phillip here on the sideline, shooting the number 2. That's 2 in a row for the PUL. Thank you so much for joining, but we're going to come back. We're going to show you the winning ceremony. We're going to name our MVP as well. Stay tuned.
The Ultimate Frisbee Association is proud to partner with Victory. Elevate your game with Victory insoles and recovery footwear at vktry.com. Delta THC Seltzers. No calories, no sugar, no alcohol. Catch life's moments at drinkdelta.com. Two Town Cider House, bringing the best craft cider for everyday celebration. Find yours at twotownciderhouse.com. And Disc-It. Round Net meets Ultimate. Disc-It is the must-have portable game for every UFA fan. Get yours at discitgame.com.
Hello and welcome. We are here at the trophy and MVP presentation for the Women's All-Star Game, PUL versus WUL. Congratulations to our winners this year. WUL versus PUL All-Star Trophy goes to our PUL team. Congratulations! In addition, we have a very special moment. We have an MVP trophy presented by Victory, and that MVP for aerial acrobatics goes to Eileen Biquette. Congratulations, both teams. Well played. Thanks for the efforts and entertainments. Thank you to our fans for coming out and celebrating Women's Ultimate. We hope you stick around for the UFA Championship sure to come.
Again, thank you so much for joining us here in the second, hopefully annual WUL versus PUL All-Star Game. We appreciate your participation and your support in this game and in the quest for Women's Ultimate. We hope you had an exciting time watching some incredible plays, watching some incredible athletes, and getting to know some of these new athletes, young and old. Women's Ultimate's going to continue to come at you. Whether you're a fan now, you will be a fan in the future. Be well, be safe, goodbye.